The SLUM to School project is an intervention to help disadvantaged kids and children in slums and remote communities across Nigeria and Africa as a whole get access to education. We know amidst the several challenges we face in Africa, one of the major issues is actually the educational system. We have several organizations, including the government, doing our best, to solve this problem. And at the moment, a country like Nigeria, which is my country, has a record as the country with the highest number of out-of-school children in the world. Now, this is something that bothers me so much as an individual, because recently I was going through statistics and I found out about 16% of the entire population actually comes down to Nigeria. And we've been thinking of strategies to solve this problem. That was what birthed the SLUM to School project. And so we're looking at an innovative approach that's being driven by young people, young volunteers, that's targeted to solving the problem nationwide. One of the things we also got to discover is that about 70% of out-of-school children are found in slums. We obviously know the reasons why slums exist across the country and in developing nations. So we had several meetings, and we said if we really want to address this problem, we need to get down to the slums, to get kids that are out of school enrolled into schools and provide educational scholarships and other psychosocial support for them. The project actually started during my National Youth Service program here in Lagos State, and several points I usually went across the Third Mainland Bridge to work. And most times when I go across the bridge, I had to notice this community that was just beside or beneath the bridge, and the place people call Makoko. I made lots of researches, asked lots of friends, and most of the things I heard about them were not very pleasant. Eventually, out of curiosity and as an adventure, I found my way down into the community, and what I saw was really very shocking. A different reality from what you find in the city at large. It was a community that stands on water. It's a community that stands on water where you have over 200,000 people. Most of them, over about 40% of the indigents there are children, and above 60% of these kids do not go to school. So I was working in the bank at the moment and seeing the plight in this particular community, that's Makoko. I asked myself several questions. What will bring fulfillment as a young person after my youth service? And I made a decision at the point to quit my job and resign from the bank and focus fully on the project. I discussed with lots of people and it was approved, and I was very excited at the moment. I started the project. It was a very challenging struggle at the moment. I shared the idea with lots of friends and volunteers, lots of friends basically, and so many of my friends said, okay, yes, we can do this, and right from, it's still less than a year since the project started, and so far we've had over 1,000 volunteers, physically and virtually, who had at several points or at one point or the other been part of the entire movement. At the moment, we have about 320 beneficiaries of the project, the Makoko community, and we have them enrolled into schools within the community. Now, what we do is provide educational support. So if they're going to be in private schools, we provide tuition and educational support materials. If it's in government schools, we provide educational materials and also collaborate with the government to give them free education. Aside that, we also have the psychosocial support. So we put them under a medical assurance or insurance. We also have lots of medical campaigns and routine checkups for them, because we know education is not just the major issue. We still have a couple of things like water, poverty, illnesses, malnutrition. These are lots of challenges which these people still face, especially in slums. So we have an integrated process. We are building up a framework that is going to encompass not just the education, but every other thing. So we are bringing potable water to the communities. We are having skill acquisition trainings for the caregivers of these children to ensure that they can also provide other supports for these kids, even when the SLUM to School project is no longer there. So we are training them on skills and giving them access to to loans to start up businesses. We also have partnerships with health centers within the community to put these kids under some kind of insurance. So whenever they are ill, they can easily go there and get a medical checkup and treatment, so that doesn't keep them out of school. For 2013, we are going to be scaling up into several other communities across Lagos State. We believe at the moment if we can successfully run a pilot phase in the Lagos State, we can easily replicate that across the country. So we are building up partnerships and building a volunteer team that can work on the project. So we're going to be building schools in communities that don't have schools, local schools, and working with other volunteer organizations that will be training and teaching these kids. We are also going to be doing so many advocacy campaigns, sensitization, providing access to education. So the target at the moment, about 1,500 children for the year. When the project started, there were several challenges. As a young person without all the professional experience, I think it's not very easy. But one of the things that really assisted in the project at the onset was the fact that I was not coming into the community as a professional organization like the United Nations or UNICEF or WHO. I was coming as a young person who could easily mingle and interact with the community youths. So I was like a friend, and that way they easily, accepted me. At the moment, I would say I feel really fulfilled, although we haven't yet achieved the desired, goals. But so far, the impact that has been created is, it brings lots of fulfillment to myself and the entire project team. Having about over 300 kids in school, it's something to be proud of, And these are kids who should have been either in the community hawking, on the sea, fishing, at their homes doing nothing. They are in schools, they are learning, there's future, for these kids. The future is bright, and that alone brings some kind of fulfillment. Whenever we get into the community or the schools, there's this, excitement you could see on the faces of the kids. They're rushing towards us like we are their parents. It brings so much excitement. We believe that at some point in this project, we're going to have a community that is going to be totally free of kids out of school. We believe we're going to have a community where all the kids are going to be in schools, learning. Their parents are going to be, busy doing something that could bring money for the families. And that was one of the reasons that, inspired me or made me get the artwork you can see behind. So whenever I wake up in the morning and I see that artwork, I feel motivated because I know there's still so much more to do, not just the Makoko community, but in similar communities across Nigeria and Africa. I'm Otto Orondaam, and I'm inspired.